The cry at midnight. It was a quiet night in the forest. The wind moved slowly through the trees. The moon was full and bright, lighting up the small cabin where Jack lived alone. Everything was still, peaceful, until Jack heard the sound. A cry, soft at first, then louder. It didn't sound human. Jack sat up from his bed. He listened again. Yes, it was a cry, a baby's cry, but strange too. High-pitched, echoing, like it came from the stars. He grabbed his jacket and flashlight. The clock on the wall said 2:12 a.m. As Jack opened the door, cold air hit his face. He looked around. Nothing. Then he saw it. Just a few steps from his porch, lying on the ground, was a basket, not made of wood or plastic. It was silver, glowing, slightly, and inside it, a baby. Jack's heart jumped. He rushed over. The baby was wrapped in a soft green cloth that felt like silk. Her skin was light blue. Her eyes were large, shining like liquid glass. She had 3 tiny fingers on each hand and no hair. She was not human, but she was crying. Cold, hungry, scared. Jack didn't think. He picked her up carefully and held her close to his chest. Her crying stopped the moment his arms wrapped around her. She looked into his eyes and blinked slowly as if she felt safe. "Who left you here?" Jack whispered. He looked around again. Nothing but trees and shadows. But something felt wrong. His eyes caught movement. Just for a second. In the woods, a shape, watching, then gone. Jack took the baby inside and closed the door tight. He lit the fireplace and wrapped her in a soft towel. She made quiet cooing sounds now, her little hands touching his arm like she already knew him. He made some warm milk. She didn't drink from the bottle at first, but when he touched it to her lips, she slowly began to sip. Jack sat in silence, watching her. She was so small, so alone, and someone had left her here. Why? After a few minutes, he walked back to the door. He opened it slowly, stepping outside with the flashlight. The basket was still there. Next to it, something new. A drop of glowing green liquid. It shimmered on the grass. Jack followed the trail. More drops. They led toward the trees. He moved slowly, quietly, flashlight shaking in his hand. Then he saw it. Deep in the trees, barely standing, was a tall figure. Thin, weak, skin the same color as the baby's. One arm holding her side. Blood dripping from her ribs. The alien woman looked at him with tired eyes. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. She took one slow step backward, then another, and then she fell. Jack ran forward, but when he reached the spot, she was gone. Only more green blood on the ground. He stood there, heart pounding. What had just happened? Who was she? Was she the baby's mother? Why leave her here? He picked up something from the ground. A small silver disc. It was smooth, no buttons or symbols. Just cold and quiet. As he turned back toward the cabin, the wind picked up. And somewhere far above, in the clouds, he thought he saw a shadow moving across the moon. A ship? Or his imagination? Jack stepped back inside. The baby was asleep, curled up like a kitten near the fire. He looked down at her. She was peaceful now, safe. But Jack felt something heavy in his chest. This wasn't just a lost child. This was something more, and whatever had left her here might be coming back. Soon. Her message was in the blood. The fire crackled softly as the alien baby slept in the corner of Jack's cabin. Her breathing was calm, her small chest rising and falling like waves on a still ocean. Jack sat nearby, but sleep would not come. His eyes were fixed on the silver disc he found near the trees. It felt heavy in his hand, not just in weight, but in meaning. It didn't look like anything made on Earth. No markings, no edges. Smooth and cold. But he knew it was important. The green blood trail outside still haunted his mind. The way the alien mother looked at him. Not with fear, but with something deeper. Trust, sorrow, urgency. Jack stood up, placed the disc on the table, and stepped outside again. The night was darker now, clouds covering the moon. The trail of glowing green blood was faint, but still visible. He followed it again, this time with a stronger light and a faster pace. He passed the spot where the alien mother had collapsed, where she had vanished into the shadows. But this time, he didn't stop. He pushed deeper into the forest. Trees stood tall like quiet giants around him. The air was cold and sharp. His boots made soft crunching sounds on fallen leaves. Then he saw it, symbols. Glowing faintly, carved into the bark of an old tree. Not letters, but shapes. Circles, stars, lines crossing through them. He had never seen anything like it. They pulsed with a slow rhythm like a heartbeat. Beneath the tree, something lay half buried in the dirt. Jack knelt down and pulled it out. A second disc. This one had a small crack on the side. As soon as he touched it, the disc lit up. Blue light swirled across its surface. Jack held his breath. Then it spoke. A soft voice. Not English. Not human. But his mind somehow understood. To the one who finds her. The voice said, trembling, with emotion, I had no choice, they're coming. She must live. Do not let them find her. Jack's heart pounded. He looked around. The forest was silent. The wind had stopped. Even the trees felt like they were listening. The voice continued. She is more than a child. She carries the last of our truth. They burned our skies, destroyed our cities. I am the last of the voice keepers. If she lives, our future lives. The light from the disc dimmed, and the voice faded. Jack stood frozen, holding both discs in his hands. The baby wasn't just an orphan. She was a key, a last hope, and now, she was in his cabin. A sudden, sharp noise cracked through the night. It came from behind him. Not footsteps, something faster, like metal sliding through air. Jack spun around. A flash of red light passed, through the trees, cutting a branch in half. Something was chasing him. He ran. Branches scratched his arms. Roots grabbed his boots. But he didn't stop. The red light came again, closer this time. A mechanical hum followed it like a machine breathing. Jack didn't look back. He burst out of the forest and into the open space near his cabin. The baby was still there, sleeping near the fire. He slammed the door shut, locked it, and backed, away. His hands shook as he looked out the window. Nothing. Then, a shape moved between the trees. Tall, armored, glowing eyes. A hunter. Jack reached for his old shotgun from the corner, even though he knew it would be useless against something like that, but he had no other choice. The baby stirred in her sleep. Her small hands lifted, glowing slightly. The light formed a gentle shield around her, thin but alive, like she sensed danger. The hunter stepped closer to the house. Jack could see it, clearly now. Not human. Armor black as night. Long arms. In one hand, it held a scanning device that made soft clicking sounds. It scanned the cabin. Paused at the baby. A green light blinked. Target confirmed, it whispered. Jack stepped in front of the baby. Not while I'm breathing, he said. The hunter raised its arm. A beam started to form. Suddenly, the disc on Jack's table lit up again. A sharp pulse of energy shot from it, blasting the hunter back. Not much, but enough to make it step away. The energy faded. The hunter growled. It turned its head and walked into the forest, disappearing once more. Jack's breath returned slowly. He didn't know how long he stood there, staring at the place where the creature vanished. Finally, he picked up the baby, still sleeping in her little cocoon of glowing light. What are you? He whispered. Her eyes opened just for a second. And in that moment, Jack saw something in them. Not fear, not confusion, but memory. Like she had lived longer than time itself. The hunters arrived. The sun had not yet risen. The forest was still dark, and the sky above held a deep shade of blue just before morning light. Inside the small cabin, Jack stayed awake, holding the alien baby close. His hands were tired. His heart was heavy. The baby had gone quiet again, but Jack could feel it. Something was wrong. That thing, the hunter, it hadn't left forever. It was testing him. Waiting. He checked the windows again. No sign of it. The glowing shield around the baby had faded. She looked peaceful now, her head resting on his chest. But peace never lasted long. A sudden sound cracked through the silence, not from the trees but from the sky. Jack ran outside. Above the forest, clouds began to spin in circles. A strange wind pushed down from above, strong and hot like fire. The clouds glowed red, then gold, and then he saw them. Not one. Not two. Three. Ships. Dark, sharp, and quiet. They didn't roar like Earth's jets. They hummed, low and cold, like machines that had tasted too much war. They hovered over the trees, scanning the ground below. Thin beams of blue light stretched down from each ship, searching. Jack rushed back into the cabin. He locked the door again, even though he knew it wouldn't help. He placed the baby gently into her basket and grabbed the silver discs. He tapped, both hoping for help, guidance, anything. The second disc blinked weakly. The first one stayed dark. "Come on," Jack whispered, his voice shaking. The baby opened her eyes. This time they glowed brighter than before. Not blue, but white. Her body gave off a pulse like a heartbeat, but it echoed through the room, making the wooden walls shake. And then the door moved. Just a slight push. Jack raised his shotgun. Not one step closer. A voice came through the crack. "We are not here to kill you. We are here for the child." It wasn't the hunter. This voice was calm, controlled, smooth, like oil over glass. Jack didn't move. "Who are you?" "We are the Seekers. We are the ones who bring order. That child belongs to the old world. She is dangerous." The baby began to cry, soft at first, then louder. Her light dimmed as if the words hurt her. Jack shouted, "She's just a baby." "No," the voice said. "She is a message, a key, and if that key unlocks the wrong door, millions will burn." The door creaked more. Something tall and thin slipped into view. A face gray and long with no mouth, no eyes. Only a smooth surface that reflected Jack's own terrified face. Jack pulled the trigger. The shotgun fired, but the thing didn't fall. It vanished, like smoke, and now there were footsteps all around the cabin. Fast, light, not human. They were surrounding him. Jack grabbed the baby and ran to the basement trapdoor hidden under a rug. He kicked it open and dropped inside, landing hard on the cold dirt floor. He held the baby close and whispered, "It's okay. I've got you." Above, he could hear the cabin door burst open. Voices, steps, scanning, but they didn't come down. The baby blinked, and the discs lit up in Jack's pocket. One of them projected another image. Not a voice this time, but a map, a tunnel, leading away from the cabin. A secret escape route. Jack didn't wait. He followed the tunnel, holding the baby tight. The path was narrow and old. The air was dry and full of dust. Spiderwebs brushed his face as he moved through the dark. After several minutes, a light appeared at the end. Jack crawled faster. He reached the exit. He was now deep in the forest again, far from the cabin. He looked back. The sky above his home now glowed red. The ships were lowering. A beam of blue light shot into the cabin. His home was gone, and they were still searching. Jack sat down under a tree, breathing hard. The baby looked at him with tired, glowing eyes. "They won't stop," he said softly. "They'll never stop." He looked at the discs again. The map on the second disc now showed a new point, far to the north. A symbol blinked next to it. A place called Vale Station. He had never heard of it. but something inside him said, "Go." He stood up. He looked at the baby. "We're not done. Not yet." He began walking, deeper into the forest, the baby resting in his arms. And somewhere, far above, hidden behind the clouds, a fourth ship began to descend. Run. Human. The forest was quiet again. Too quiet. Jack's feet moved quickly over the dirt, crunching dry leaves and snapping twigs, but the world around him felt frozen. Not peaceful. Hunted. The alien baby lay, warm against his chest, her tiny hand gripping his shirt. She didn't cry, she didn't speak, but Jack could feel her fear. It was in the way she trembled, in the way her light dimmed. Above, the sky groaned. A fourth ship had arrived, sleeker, darker, and quieter than the rest. It didn't scan. It didn't hover. It hunted. Jack didn't stop running. The disc in his pocket kept blinking, showing him a moving red arrow on the map. North. Always north. Toward Vale Station, wherever that was. He passed a river, then thick trees, then a dead field of blackened grass. It smelled like ash and old metal. Maybe a ship had crashed here long ago, maybe something worse. Behind him he heard a strange sound. Not a footstep, not a voice. A whisper, like static and breath mixed together. He turned. A tall shadow moved between the trees. Slow, steady. The same shape as the hunter that came before, but different. This one had long blades instead of hands. Its body shimmered, like heat waves, hard to see unless it moved. Jack ducked behind a tree and held his breath. The baby reached up and gently touched his neck. A soft pulse of light passed through his skin, cool and calming. And then her voice, inside his head. They see through sound. Don't move. His heart froze. Was that her? The baby? Or some memory she gave him? He didn't move. Not even to blink. The hunter passed just inches from where he hid. It stopped, tilted its head, sniffed the air. Jack thought of his cabin, burning. Thought of the first disc, of the baby's mother collapsing in the woods. He couldn't let it end here, not now. The hunter moved on. Jack exhaled slowly and continued forward, staying low. Finally, after nearly an hour, he reached a steep hill. At the top, an old metal door stood half buried in rock. It looked ancient, rusted, not human-made. The disc blinked fast now. The red arrow pointed to the door. Jack climbed up, kicked the dirt away, and placed the disc into a small round hole beside the door. Nothing. Then, a click. A hiss. The door creaked open. Inside was darkness, but safe darkness. Quiet. Hidden. He stepped in. The door closed behind him, sealing them inside the mountain. The tunnel ahead glowed softly, blue lines running along the walls like veins. It wasn't Earth tech. It was alive. As Jack walked, the baby stirred. Her eyes opened again, glowing white for a moment, then softening to blue. "What are you?" Jack whispered. She didn't answer. But he didn't expect her to. After 10 minutes of walking, the tunnel opened into a wide chamber. Glowing crystals lined the ceiling. In the center was a chair, round and smooth with wires floating around it like snakes. A voice echoed through the room. Calm, female. Jack Reynolds. Former soldier, age 32, heart function high, stress level, critical. He spun around. Who's there? A light formed in the air, a hologram, not a person, but a shape, like a star mixed with a flower. It floated. You carry the child of a fallen queen, the voice said. She holds more than life. She holds memory, history, code. She is the last vessel. Jack stepped forward. I don't understand. Who are you? I am Vale, this station's guardian, and now, your only friend. He looked down at the baby. She looked back. No fear in her eyes now, just sadness. Deep, silent sadness. Why are they hunting her? Jack asked. Because she is proof, Vale said. Proof that the royal bloodline survived. And if her kind learns that she lives, they will rise. And if her enemies learn, they will burn her alive. Jack closed his eyes. The weight of everything was crashing down on him. I'm just a man. I live in a cabin. I fish. I don't know how to protect a baby from aliens and wars and ships falling from the sky. But you cared, Vale said. When others would run, you opened your door. The baby reached out and touched the floating light. It reacted to her. The wires around the chair moved closer to her hand. She can unlock this station, Vale said. She can awaken what was hidden. Jack hesitated. What if it's dangerous? Then danger will find her anyway. He gently placed the baby on the chair. The wires moved around her, soft and warm. Her eyes closed. The chair lit up with thousands of stars, floating around them like a galaxy. Jack stared in wonder, and far above them the fourth ship landed. This time it didn't scan. It didn't hunt. It spoke. Human. Surrender the child, or face extinction. The secret guardian, deep beneath the mountain, inside Vale Station. The stars spun like ghosts around Jack and the alien child. She lay still in the chair, wrapped in living wires and glowing threads of light. Her breath was steady, her hands open, but her mind was somewhere far away. Jack watched helplessly. He didn't understand the machines or the language Vale spoke, but he knew one thing. She was no longer just a baby. She was something more. Above them, the enemy was moving. The fourth ship had landed. Silent metal figures now stepped through the forest. They didn't speak. They didn't scan. They marched like soldiers, each one with a single task: find the child and erase her. Vale's voice echoed around the chamber. Time is short. They are inside the outer tunnels. Jack looked at the map floating in front of him. Red lights marked the invaders. They were getting closer. What do we do? He asked. I have one defense, Vale replied. But it has not worked in many years. It needs a key. Not just hers, but his. A door opened behind Jack. Warm blue light spilled out. He turned to see a tall figure stepping through the entrance, half machine, half living. An old being. Skin like stone, arms like armor, and eyes that burned with memory. Jack raised his shotgun, but the figure held up a hand. I am Veru, the voice said, deep and full of age, guardian of the last queen, protector of her bloodline. I have waited a long time to meet the human who would carry her child. Jack lowered the gun. Slowly. You know her? Jack asked. I served her, Veru said. Before the firestorms, before the betrayal, before she fell to earth. He stepped closer and looked at the baby in the chair. She was not meant to survive, he said softly. But her mother, she gave up everything, her title, her life, her home, all for this child, for a chance at peace. Jack stared. I found her on my porch, alone, crying. I didn't know what to do. But you stayed, Veru said, and that was enough. The room trembled. A soft hum became a low growl. From the top of the station, explosions echoed like thunder underground. They have breached level 3, Vale announced. Veru walked to a pedestal and placed his large hand on a glowing symbol. What are you doing? Jack asked. Awakening the station, Veru replied. It was built for this moment. Walls shifted. Light danced across ancient runes. The air grew heavy as power returned to systems lost for decades. A tall pillar rose from the floor. It pulsed with white energy. This is the heart, Vale said. It can shield the child, but it needs time. Jack heard metal, scraping stone. The hunters were coming through the lower tunnels now. How much time? He asked. 10 minutes, Vale replied. Maybe less. Jack clenched his jaw. Then we hold them here. He grabbed a pulse rifle from the wall. Old alien tech, still humming with stored energy. He had no idea how to use it, but the grip fit his hand perfectly. Veru took up a massive blade made of crystal and heat. His armor folded over his body like skin returning to bone. They won't stop, Jack said. Neither will we, Veru replied. They stood at the tunnel entrance waiting. The lights dimmed. Then the shadows came. 4 hunters entered first. Their eyes burned red. Their arms were blades. They moved like death, silent, focused, fast. Jack opened fire. The pulse rifle kicked like thunder, firing bolts of pure blue light. 1 hunter dropped. Another flinched. Veru roared and charged, his blade slicing through the air like lightning. The room filled with noise, shouting, cracking, burning. 1 hunter reached for Jack, but the baby still in the chair opened her eyes. They blazed white again. A wave of energy burst out from her body. Not deadly, but full of force. The hunter was thrown back, crashing into the wall and falling in pieces. Jack turned to her. She's awake. She is learning, Vale said. Her memory is unlocking. Veru stood over 2 broken hunters. His armor smoked, but he was still strong. But more came. This time, not hunters, but something worse. A tall being in black robes. Floating above the floor, its face hidden, its voice sharp and cold. The child is not yours, it said. You cannot protect her. You are flesh, broken, weak. Jack stepped forward. Then come and break me. The being raised its hand. A spear of dark light formed in the air and flew toward Jack. Before it struck, the child's glow expanded again, this time forming a shield around Jack. The spear hit it and shattered. The being stopped. Impossible, it hissed. Veru stepped forward. It is not impossible. It is human. The enemy paused, then retreated slowly. Jack looked around. The floor was covered in smoke, metal, and sparks. He walked to the child. She was glowing softly again. He lifted her from the chair. She looked into his eyes, and for the first time, she smiled. You're safe, Jack whispered. For now. But, Vale's voice returned lower now. You are not done yet. They will return. With more. Stronger. And this time, they will not retreat. The mother's return. The smoke still hung in the air inside Vale Station. Jack stood at the center of the glowing chamber, holding the child in his arms. Her smile faded now, replaced by something older, something deeper. Like she remembered things no baby ever should. Veru leaned on his crystal blade, breathing heavily. His armor was cracked. Glowing wounds leaked thin lines of light from his side. They pulled back too easily. He muttered. This wasn't an attack. It was a test. Jack looked at him. A test for what? Veru didn't answer. Instead, he turned to Vale. Has the signal been received? He asked. Yes, Vale replied. But it came with more than we expected. A low hum rose through the station floor. The walls trembled gently like something powerful stirred beneath them. On one of the floating holographic maps, a new symbol appeared. A white flame, blinking softly. Someone answered, Vale said. But not who we thought. Before Jack could ask what that meant, a gust of warm air rushed through the chamber. The lights flickered. Something was coming. From deep within the mountain, a hidden door began to open. Jack turned toward it. Gun, ready, muscles tight. The child in his arms opened her glowing eyes and raised one hand. The door opened fully, and a figure stepped through. Tall, thin, wounded. It was her, the child's mother. Her cloak was torn, her body marked with deep burns. One arm hung useless at her side. The other still clutched a long staff made of twisted light and bone. Her face was pale blue, eyes glowing with pain and purpose. She looked at Jack, then at the child, and then she fell to her knees. The room went silent. Veru stepped forward. My queen. She gave him a slow nod, then looked at Jack again. Her voice, when it came, was soft and cracked. You carried her, protected her. Why? Jack didn't know how to answer. He looked at the child, then back at her mother, because no one else did. Tears, silver and glowing, fell from the queen's eyes. I failed her, she whispered. I left her alone, because I thought it would save her. Jack stepped closer. The child reached out to her mother, her tiny hand glowing. The queen tried to touch her, but pain twisted her face. Her strength was leaving her fast. "They will come again," she said. "This time with the black sun." Veru's face darkened. "Then we don't have long." Jack set the child down between them. The queen leaned forward and touched her daughter's forehead. The moment they connected, a bright light surrounded them both. Jack had to shield his eyes. When the light faded, the queen looked older, weaker, but the child... She stood, her eyes wide and glowing white. Energy moved around her like a slow wind. "What's happening?" Jack asked. Vale spoke softly now. "The transfer has begun. The mother is giving her the last memory, the final key." Jack watched as the queen placed a hand on her daughter's chest. A symbol lit up, a spiral of stars. "When the black sun rises," the queen said, "she must go to the gate. She must unlock it, or all will fall." Veru dropped to one knee. "I will carry her if I must. I will fight until—" "No," the queen said. "The human must go." Jack blinked. "Me?" "She chose you," the queen said. "You gave her warmth. You gave her trust. She will not survive without you." Jack looked at the child. She was looking back at him now, eyes full of light and something like love. A deep rumbling sound echoed through the mountain. The ground shook. Vale's voice returned. "They have found us again. This time, they bring the black sun." On the map, a massive ship appeared, 10 times the size of the others. Its center burned like a dark star. "What is it?" Jack asked. "A world killer," Veru said. "A weapon built from broken suns and dead gods. It eats what it cannot rule." The queen stood slowly, using her staff for balance. "I cannot go," she said, "but she can, and you must lead her." Jack looked around. The walls of Vale Station were shaking now. Sparks fell from the ceiling. Alerts blinked across the glowing panels. He turned to the child. "Can you walk?" She nodded, just once, her body small, but her gaze full of power. Veru opened a side gate. "This path leads to the Gate of Stars," he said. "It will take you off-world. If she opens it, a new world will awaken." Jack turned to the queen. "What about you?" She smiled weakly. "I will hold them off, as long as I can." Jack hesitated. She stepped forward, placing a hand on his heart. "Thank you," she whispered. "Not just for her, but for giving me hope again." Jack nodded. His eyes burned, but he didn't let the tears fall. He took the child's hand. Veru walked beside them, sword ready, and behind them, the queen turned toward the noise, the enemy rising like a tide of darkness. As Jack and the child ran into the light, Vale's voice echoed one last time. "The gate awaits. The final part begins." Heart over war. The tunnel was long, dark, and full of echoes. Jack ran beside the glowing child, her small feet barely touching the ground as she moved forward. Behind them, Veru followed with his sword ready, eyes scanning every shadow. They were heading toward the Gate of Stars, an ancient portal buried deep beneath the mountains, built long ago by the Queen's ancestors, hidden from both allies and enemies. Above them, the mountain roared. The black sun ship had arrived. Its engines didn't burn. They drained. Light, heat, power, all pulled into its center like a collapsing star. Vale Station was falling, and the Queen was still there. Jack didn't speak. He couldn't. Every breath burned. His muscles ached, but he kept going. The child squeezed his hand. She was calm, focused. Her eyes no longer just glowing. They were shining like the stars themselves. "How much farther?" Jack asked. Veru pointed ahead. "Just beyond this door." They reached a massive stone wall covered in symbols. The Center had a spiral mark, the same one that had glowed on the child's chest. She stepped forward, placed her hand on it. The stone responded. The wall opened, folding into itself like paper in water. Behind it was a massive chamber, round and wide, with a floor of silver and glass. In the middle stood the Gate of Stars, a tall ring floating just above the ground, its surface rippling like a mirror made of light. The child walked to it. Jack followed, his heart pounding. Beru stayed near the entrance, watching. "This is it," he said. "Once the gate opens, the enemy will sense it. We will not have long." The child placed both her hands on the ring. The gate began to spin. Slowly at first, then faster. Lights raced across its surface, forming patterns, and paths Jack didn't understand. The air shook. Jack turned to Veru. "Where does it go?" "Somewhere safe," Veru said. "A world untouched. A place to rebuild. But only she can open the path." Suddenly the chamber trembled. A part of the ceiling cracked and a red beam cut through the wall. The black sun had found them. Jack raised his weapon, but Veru grabbed his shoulder. "No, go with her. I stay." "Veru, your place is beside her now. My war ends here." A loud roar came through the tunnel. The hunters had returned, more than before. Dozens. Jack picked up the child and stepped into the center of the gate. It was warm, alive. It felt like touching the edge of a dream. "I don't know where this leads," he whispered. The child looked up at him. "I do." Jack froze. Her voice was clear. Not in his head, but out loud. Her first words. "Thank you, Jack." He smiled. The gate flashed bright. But just before it opened, the Black Sun's leader stepped into the chamber. Tall, cloaked in shadows. Arms, like bone and metal. Its face was a hollow mask. Its voice cut like knives. "You cannot run. Give her to me." Jack held the child tighter. "Not a chance. This is not your war," the creature said. "No," Jack replied. "But she's my family now." The creature raised its hand. A dark spear formed, long and sharp, pulsing with the power of dying stars. Veru charged with a roar. His blade met the spear mid-air. The explosion lit the room with fire and fury. Jack and the child fell through the gate as it burst open. Elsewhere, they landed in silence. Jack hit soft grass, air rushing from his lungs. He sat up, blinking at the light above. A new sky. 2 suns. Clouds like golden rivers. Trees with glowing leaves. Birds made of light. A new world. The child stood beside him, older now. Not in body, but in presence. Stronger. He looked at her. "Did we make it?" She nodded. "Yes. This is the seed world. My mother's last hope." Jack helped her to her feet. "What now?" She looked toward the sky. "Now, we build back on the dying world." The black sun burned. Vale Station collapsed into dust. But Veru stood tall, blade broken, body torn, still guarding the last of his queen's bloodline, even as the enemy closed in. And then, just before the darkness could swallow him, a final light burst from the mountain, one last signal. The girl lives. The path is safe. Hope has not died. Epilogue. Years later. On the new world, trees grew tall and strange animals filled the forests. The skies changed colors during the day. The rivers sang. Jack lived in a small home made of crystal and wood. He taught the locals how to fish, how to grow food, how to live. The child, now older, walked beside him often. She had friends now, a new people. But she never left Jack's side. They called her Starlight, and they called him Heartshield, the human who carried a baby through fire and war, and never let go.